Okay, they're gone. So we're going to move on to the sort. We're going to be sorting the animals in the box into herbivore, omnivore, or carnivore. So I actually made a PowerPoint for this. I'll bring it up. And you can follow along as we go through the slides. You'll just write each animal in the right category. If you don't have this packet, you can go ahead and make your own chart that looks like this. Just go ahead and pause it, find some paper, and copy the chart on my screen. Okay. All right, so you should all have something now to write on. I will share my screen. Here we go. All right, so mammal sort. The first animal we're looking at is a deer. All right, so you'll see the deer has eyes on the side of its head. It's very flat teeth and hooves, which can be used for running away very quickly. So is the deer an herbivore, omnivore, or carnivore? A deer is an, let's see if you got it, herbivore, right? They eat plants. So go ahead and write deer under herbivore on either the packet chart or on the chart you made. All right, our next animal is dog, right? So dogs have some pretty sharp teeth, right? Their eyes are more in front, and then they have claws with soft padding. So dogs are a little tricky. I want to see what you think, and then I'll tell you the answer. Let's go to the next slide. It says a dog is a omnivore. Now, this was a hard one to find. If you Google it, a lot of websites will say dog is a carnivore, right? They mostly eat meat. However, they do eat some plants and grains, and it's good for them to have that in their diet. So on our sheet, we will put that a dog is an omnivore. Next up is bat. Now, you may not have even known a bat is a mammal because they fly. Bats are actually the only mammal that can fly. And you can see in one of the pictures I put here that bats do have fur. They have a lot of it on their body. They also have sharp claws and some sharp teeth. So this is another tricky one. What do you think? We know it's definitely not an herbivore, but do you think it's a carnivore or an omnivore? Let's see. That's an omnivore. And actually, just a second. Okay, actually, most bats eat mainly insects, which make them an insectivore. But a lot of bats, especially in tropical areas, do eat a lot of fruits. So that's why I put them in the omnivore group. Next up is rabbits. So you can see rabbits have some pretty flat teeth in front. In one of my pictures, they're eating plants. So they're definitely not a carnivore. And they have those big flat feet that make them run really fast. Perhaps to get away from predators. Just a second. My kids are being noisy today. Okay, I'll share my screen again. Okay, so what do you think? Is a rabbit an herbivore or an omnivore? A rabbit is an herbivore, right? They eat plants. Next up, we have the cow. You can see the cow has eyes on the side of their head, pretty flat teeth. So this one should be pretty obvious, nothing tricky about it. Let's see if you got it. Oh, it says a deer. That should be a cow. A cow is an herbivore. So don't write deer twice. It's under herbivore, you should have rabbit, deer, and cow. Okay, next up is orca. Right? An orca is a type of whale, and they're actually known as a killer whale, which should give you a hint into what group they fall into. And actually, you may have not realized that whales are mammals because they don't really have any visible hair or fur. They actually only have a tiny bit on their upper lip. However, they do give birth to live young, and they nurse their young with milk, so they're definitely mammals. And so are dolphins, seals, sea lions, and otters. All right. In contrast, sharks are fish. Sharks are not mammals. So back to the orca. You can see they have sharp teeth. They're known as the killer whale. So an orca is a carnivore. Next up is the blue whale. Remember I said all whales are mammals. Now, blue whales have very different teeth than the orca. They have, they look like bristles, almost like in your hairbrush, which is very bristly. So blue whales don't have teeth at all. Instead, they have around 300 plates of baleen. That's the bristly stuff in their mouth. It's called baleen. And it looks just like long, thin teeth placed very close to one another. And they're used to catch very small animals that are swimming in the water. It kind of filters. So they open their mouth, they catch all the small animals, like small fish, and then the water filters out. So I just told you they're eating small animals, which means they're not an herbivore. A blue whale is a carnivore. Okay. If at any point you need to pause to catch up, you can, but I'm going to keep going. The next animal is wolf. I bet you can guess this one. Right, look at those sharp teeth. He's licking his lips. He's on the prowl. He's got sharp claws. The teeth or the eyes are more in front. So a wolf is a carnivore, and I made a note because it's not always so cut and dry. I guess the note didn't show up. Okay, so wolves technically are omnivores because they will eat some plants, but their diet is almost completely meat. So even though I said dogs were omnivores, we're going to say wolves are carnivores because they do rely on meat a lot more. Okay, next up is the raccoon. You can see they have a variety of teeth, right? There's some flatter ones, some sharper ones, and their feet almost look like our hands. Their eyes are more in front. So do you think it's an herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore? This one's pretty straightforward. A raccoon is an omnivore. Sorry for the background noise. I hope it's not too much. Okay. Ezra, I need you to lift that off the ground or keep it on the carpet. Thank you. Okay, on to the polar bear. Polar bears have sharp teeth, sharp claws. Their eyes are more in front. So a polar bear is a carnivore. And kind of like the wolves, bears are technically omnivores, but polar bears are the most carnivorous of the bears, and their diet is almost entirely consisting of meat. So that's why we're putting them in the carnivore group. Okay, so I just said all bears are technically omnivores, so you can probably guess what the black bear is. You can see their teeth aren't quite as sharp, especially in the front. So they have more of a variety of teeth than the polar bear. Their eyes are still in front. The black bear is an omnivore. So they eat plants and meat. Okay, and on to the last one, the squirrel. Right, so well, I actually have a picture on here. He's eating an apple. So right away, we know squirrel is not a carnivore. They have some sharper teeth in the front, but not that many, right? And all their back teeth are molars, very flat. So this is a trickier one. They have the claws for holding on to things. Let's see, take a guess and then I'll go to the next slide. Okay, squirrel's an omnivore. And many people think squirrels are herbivores, right? Because we know they eat nuts. But they do eat a lot more than just nuts. They eat seeds, nuts, fruits, and they'll also eat on eggs and small insects, caterpillars, and even young snakes. So they do eat some other animals, which makes them an omnivore. And that's it. All right, so hopefully you were able to sort all your animals and fill out that whole page. And because this was a longer video today, the rest of your social studies and science time will be spent on practicing your typing. So typing.com or typingclub.com. And I'd also like you to fit in some exercise, either by doing some push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, or going on to Go Noodle and doing some of the exercise videos there. Okay, everyone, have a great afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.